You're watching the news summary on Kazakh TV, review of the major news of the week from Kazakhstan. I'm Joanna Sagandikova. Good evening. On May 7th, Kazakhstan marked the Fatherland Defenders Day. 23 years ago, President Nazarbayev signed a decree on the establishment of the Kazakh Armed Forces. The military parade held in Astana on Thursday was the demonstration of the achievements of the Kazakh Armed Forces of the past 2 decades. The large-scale march at the Kazakh Joly Square involved 5,000 soldiers of different troops and featured nearly 200 military cars, 70 aircrafts and helicopters. The military parade was broadcast live on Kazakh TV. It was shot by 24 cameras combined into a single television station.
The parade was proclaimed as the most spectacular parade in the history of independent Kazakhstan. Both the country's national flag and the banner of the Great Victory were hoisted on the square. Many veterans, despite their age, stood up to give their dues to the flags.
The
banner of victory was a replica of the famous banner raised over the Reichstag 70 years ago by our distinguished countrymen Rakhimjan Koshkarbayev and Grigory Bulatov. It was the largest military parade over the years of Kazakhstan's independence. Congratulating compatriots on the holiday, Nur Otan Nazarbayev highlighted Kazakhstan's contribution in the victory. 1.2 million Kazakh soldiers fought in the Second World War, and only half returned home from the battlefields. More than 500 Kazakhstanis were awarded the honorary title of the Hero of the Soviet Union. Symbolically, the two holidays follow one another. This shows the continuity of military traditions between the World War II winners and the current generation of defenders of our land. Military valor at the front lines and selfless labor in the home front were the main pillars of the victory. I heartily congratulate all the war and labor veterans on the anniversary of the great victory. Your lives and heroic feats will be remembered in all times. The memories and stories about your heroism will be passed on from generation to generation. There is no future without a past. Understanding this, Kazakhstanis always remember and honor the deeds of their fathers and grandfathers.
Как верховный главнокомандующий, я обращаюсь к каждому военнослужащему страны.
As the Commander-in-Chief, I want to say to every military officer what a high mission it is to protect Kazakhstan's sovereignty and peace. Serve your country with honor. Today, our soldiers are marching on the square to show respect to the veterans, to mark the great victory and the Fatherland Defenders Day. Happy holiday, my dear fellow countrymen. Long live our glorious army. Long live Kazakhstan.
Это день уважения великой победе и Дню защитника Отечества.
Here's the most exciting moment. Military columns are ready to start the parade. According to an established tradition, drummers from Jasulan Military School open the parade. The military parade this time showcased uniforms, armament, and military cars used during World War II, bringing back the memories of the past battles. The troops marched with the banner of the famous 72nd Guards Rifle Division. During the war, 12 rifle, 4 cavalry divisions, 7 infantry brigades, 50 separate regiments and battalions were formed in Kazakhstan. The columns of the Ministry of Defense, Army, Air Forces, Marines, Special Forces, peacekeepers and female squadrons demonstrated their modern combat proficiency. Followers of the glorious traditions of the heroes of the Soviet Union, as Aliya Moldagulova and Manshik Mametova, properly performed duties of military service today. Nearly 200 pieces of military machinery were demonstrated at the Kazakh Joly Square. The symbols of victory, the legendary Katyusha, multiple rocket launchers, and T-34 tanks led the mechanized column.
Т-34 – самая узнаваемая техника, оказавшая существенное влияние на исход войны.
The columns featured modern tanks and infantry fighting vehicles, armored personnel carriers, and howitzers. The newly acquired combat vehicles Tiger, Solntsepak, and Cobra were also featured during the march. The pinnacle of the parade was the air show. Eurocopter EC-145 helicopters manufactured in Kazakhstan, the Sukhoi Su-30 fighter aircrafts, all took part in the end. The pilots performed aerobatics called Diamond and Pyramid. In addition, the pilots wrote number 70 to honor the significant date, the 70th anniversary of victory in World War II.
На горизонте вы можете наблюдать исполнение цифры 70 4 истребителями Су-27. Цифра 70 рисуется с помощью отстрела тепловых ловушек.
Я очень рад сегодня присутствовать на этом параде.
I am very pleased to be here today to see the parade, to watch the marching troops with all their modern armament and machinery, and also those used in World War II.
Очень хороший.
Military parade this year is very good and rich. There are so many military vehicles and soldiers. It is very beautiful.
В общем, очень красиво.
The 70th anniversary of victory is history. 23 years of Kazakhstan's army is modern age. The parade showed that in a peaceful Kazakhstan, these dates are not two parallels, but one whole unit and a pillar of country's development.
A rescue team has found the birthplace of 20 Kazakh soldiers in Russia. The soldiers were reported missing 73 years ago. Families of the victims who live in Kazakh have already visited the Novgorod region. The remains of soldiers' helmets and medallions were found in the marshland around the Kipina village. Numerous residents are engaged in the search. Every summer, they collect information, place it on the internet and bury whatever remains they manage to find. According to the official data, 841 soldiers were buried in a mass grave, but in fact, the number keeps increasing every year.
Almost every year, we find additionally more soldiers who were killed and not buried properly. Just last week, we received lists totaling 400 people from the regional military office who also have died in these settlements.
Kazakh people brought pieces of native soil and memorial plaque to the mass grave of the fallen soldiers. A capsule with sacred Ulitau soil was placed at the monument. Artifacts of the bloodiest war in history brought from Novgorod will now be stored in a Kazakh museum. He was shot in the leg, served in the military regiment with Leonid Beda, survived a plane crash. Mangistau veteran Turgan Utasinov does have a few stories to tell his children and grandchildren. The war veteran has been awarded numerous medals and certificates for bravery and courage. Our colleagues met with the Sergeant of Aviation Regiment in order to thank him for the clear blue sky and peaceful lives we have today.
Every employee of our agency donated an equivalent of 1 day's pay to buy gifts for the World War II veterans. Turgan Utasinov was moved, and today, at the family feast, he is given in to emotions, remembering those terrible years. His story began in Saratov, where he was drafted to the front line in February 1942. The then young soldier immediately was deployed with the Marines near Stalingrad. One of the bloodiest battles of World War II started a few months later, and he was wounded in the leg. I thought I would not survive. A machine gun bullet hit me in the leg and got stuck there. 3 months I was lying in the field hospital. There was one big barrack and it was very crowded. If people couldn't find enough room to sleep inside, they had to sleep outside in the street. Then, during the Battle of Stalingrad, a lot of people were wounded. Only after the wound, his fate crisscrossed with the twice hero of the Soviet Union, Leonid Beda. Turgan Utasinov was assessed into one regiment with the honored pilot, and they became close friends. He was slim and short, but that didn't matter. See who he has eventually become. Every time he took off into the sky, we knew we would win. If there was an attempt to break through enemy lines or an offensive was being planned, Air Force was requested because their role was crucial. The infantry and tank crews were not able to counter the enemy unless our aircraft number 30 hadn't been there. When he returned from battles, he was quiet. It meant everything went according to his plan. He was a good guy. Even after the war, Turgan could not return home. Until 1951, an experienced aircraft mechanic taught young students in Belarus. But once, the students miscalculated and hit their teacher's aircraft. The veteran survived by landing his plane on trees. After months of hard rehabilitation, Aviation Regiment Sergeant was released to his home in Turkmenistan. There, he met his soulmate, and later together they moved to Kazakhstan. They have 5 children, 10 grandchildren, and 5 great-grandchildren. If fate will be supportive, the veteran says, the family will celebrate another anniversary, an iron wedding.
A World War II veteran from Kyzylorda Asanbai Abrahmanuly will celebrate several anniversaries this year. His 90th birthday, diamond wedding anniversary, and the 70th anniversary of victory in World War II. The former artilleryman accepted gifts and congratulations from friends, relatives, and even from the Kabar TV crew. The ex-soldier was presented a washing machine as part of the Thank You for the Victory campaign.
Номер 20, прицел 180, огонь.
Asanbai Abrahmanuly talks about the war as if it happened yesterday. He remembers combat plans, sounds of projectiles and destroyed cities. He had just turned 17, completed a short, basic training and then immediately was sent to the front line. His first fight was in Japan. His rifle division fought in the most dangerous sections of the front. The former artilleryman says they had to confront the enemy at the cost of huge losses. When we hit the target, the following command was fire at will. Up to 60 shells were fired an hour. We lost a lot of people. The enemy tried to destroy our artillery from the air and from the ground. When they hit targets, they might have not killed, but almost always incapacitated soldiers. 70 years later, the war veteran still remembers every day of the war. He knows firsthand how it feels to lose friends and what it was like to know that death was breathing down his neck. So May 9th is the most anticipated holiday in his life. We also congratulated the veteran on the Victory Day. Asanbai grandpa returned from the war in 1951. He has numerous awards and medals on his parade jacket. Together with his wife Risko, they raised 10 children and now they're living a happy life surrounded by grandchildren and great-grandchildren. We have been together for 60 years. This year we are going to celebrate our diamond wedding anniversary. I will turn 80, my husband 90. We have been together for 60 years, and this year it will be 70 years since the victory in World War II. We are happy. Many thanks to Khabar Agency for the attention, honor, and gifts. I am very grateful. I wish success to the creative team. Live in a peaceful, prosperous country and let the war never happen. Asanbai grandpa celebrated the 70th Victory Day and paid his dues to the fallen friends. Every year he comes to the Monument of Glory with his grandchildren to lay flowers. And despite his tough spirit, when remembering his comrades at the eternal fire of victory, the war veteran can hardly ever hold his tears.
Orchestra of the Ministry of Defense reminded Astana residents about the upcoming 70th anniversary of the victory in World War II. The orchestra, dancers and singers have marched through the main streets of the capital. The artists were congratulating people, performing military patriotic songs and handing out cards and balloons along the way. This event was a pleasant surprise for residents and visitors of the capital. The audience admitted they have never seen such a concert on wheels.
We were walking along the boulevard because we do walking tours every week. We are foreigners here, so we always want to explore things around Astana. And we were very surprised to see this concert, so we approached and we were very pleased to see the people dancing, to hear the nice music and to learn about the national day that you have.
This campaign was aimed to make our young generation remember that our grandfathers fought and shed their blood, and now we live in peaceful Kazakhstan under the bright skies, thanks to them.
Мы живем сейчас в мирном Казахстане под чистым небом.
As the Victory Day approaches, different events are taking place across the country. Actors in the regional puppet theater in Kostanai have presented a children's play about the Second World War. The play by Irina and Jan Zlatopolsky is a heroic and romantic drama in 2 acts. The play is a story about a paper plane that travels across the front line with important reports on the coordinates of an enemy airfield. According to the actors of the theater, they decided to take this bold step, even though it was not easy to tell the children about the war. The troupe uses the newsreel footage and war songs for their shows.
Впервые совместили видео, потом цветовые эффекты, куклы.
We have combined a video, lighting, effects, puppets and people for the first time ever. Everything in this performance is focused on transforming children into war times. A small paper plane with the soul of a child. We wanted to show that war is a scary thing. We believe that children will feel and understand our performance.
Фактором, конечно, хотелось донести детям.
The issues of quality of services provided by public service centers as well as legality of actions by bailiffs were discussed today in Almaty during the meeting of the Republican Public Anti-Corruption Council under the auspices of the Nur Otan party. The members of the council intend to thoroughly analyze the results of a public survey and suggestions of NGOs to elaborate on the anti-corruption program as the public organization signed a memorandum on cooperation with NGOs and state bodies.
Заключив меморандум
Having signed the collective memorandum with the involvement of experts, mass media, NGOs, law enforcement officials, courts and prosecutors, we collectively will exchange information somehow and convene the roundtables and meetings. We will inform the staff and people about the existing and urgent issues.
И будем доводить до сотрудников, до населения.
Country's roads are to undergo a gradual reconstruction for improvement of quality standards in the next few years. 11 road projects under the program Nur Otan are to be implemented in 2015 and 2016. 424 kilometers of roads are expected to be commissioned by the end of this year. 301 billion tenge will be spent for these projects from the National Fund. It is further planned to attract loans from international financial institutions in the total amount of about 1 trillion tenge.
The ministry held preliminary talks until the end of the year, and it is planned to sign 12 loan agreements. The international financial institutions' loans will be allocated for the projects Center-South, Center-East, Aktobi, Atirau, Astrakhan, Jetibai, Zhanaozen, and Ozenagash Otar. A feasibility study will be developed for all projects in the current year. Construction work is scheduled to begin in the second quarter of the next year.
The long-anticipated car loans with subsidized interest rates have been launched. The Development Bank of Kazakhstan has allocated 20 billion tenge at the expense of the National Fund to support the domestic automotive industry. 15 billion tenge will be sent to 6 commercial banks for lending to customers who are interested in purchasing cars manufactured in Kazakhstan. Another 5 billion tenge will be used to finance legal entities which would want to lease special-purpose vehicles.
The effective annual interest rate on car loans will be 7.5% per annum, taking into account commissions and insurance. The initial payment shall not exceed 20% of the total cost. Under the program, anyone can buy cars of domestic assembly that cost no more than 5.6 million tenge. 15 billion tenge are to be allocated to banks for 20-year terms. Since the lending term to borrowers is no more than 5 years, this is not a one-time program. It will be constantly active, and the banks, as long as they receive funds, will refinance them to borrowers repeatedly. In total, 6 second-tier banks, the Halyk Bank of Kazakhstan, Eurasian Bank, Sberbank of Russia, Fortebank, Bank Center Credit, and ATF Bank partnered with the Development Bank for this program. Of course, this is an enormous support from the government for the automotive industry because the money generated by automakers will be sent for further localization, installation of new pipelines, new lines. It is planned that the first wave will allow redeem the 6,500 cars, which is a quarter of Kazakhstan's total production.
The special economic zone Seaport Aktau is preparing to launch 6 innovative projects. Among them, there are enterprise producing pharmaceuticals, metal pipes of premium class, materials and investments for oil service. In addition, there will be a large warehouse space for food storage in Marmaxtau region. Construction of 6 investment projects will help expand the field of transit and export opportunities. These projects will create more than 500 new jobs.
Construction of 6 investment projects will help the region expand transit and export capacities. A logistics center is currently being constructed as an example of the Kazakh-Azerbaijani cooperation in the region. Its implementation has a great socio-economic importance for the region, as 95% of food products are imported and immediately sent for sale. The reason is a lack of modern storage facilities. The construction of the center will help solve this problem. A huge facility can already be seen on 4 hectares of land. Later, it will be divided into 2 parts. The latest modern equipment is installed in the freezer. The oxygen will not decrease. Separate cells will be made for preservation of vegetables, fruits in appropriate temperature. Here, the temperature varies from 0 to 12 Celsius and from 0 to -30. On the other side, which is 5,000 square meters, there will be a storage for dry products with a racking system. I have been working on a concrete mixer for 8 months already. I have a stable salary. I and other 80 people got jobs here. I know that the project is expensive. It's worth $20 million US. The complex will be enabled the coming fall, along with a plant for the production of metal pipes, which to date regional oil companies order from Mexico. The project is estimated at $40 million US. Currently, the project is adapted to construction standards of Kazakhstan. In May, we expect to start the construction. The end of December, the beginning of January 2016, we already expect to release the first products. All new projects are unique for the region, and their products are in demand. For instance, local confectionaries are looking forward to receiving plastic packaging products.
Republican contest Shapagat 2015 has finished in Astana. About 300 innovators from different parts of the country have presented different innovative projects to the jury in the field of medicine, agriculture, industrial production and green energy.
A fire engine of the new generation. It is mobile, cross-functional and not expensive. It can extinguish fire and also warm up frozen heat pipes, airplane wings, and even destroy parasites in cattle farms. The inventor Nur Otan believes that firefighting personnel will get the gear in the nearest future, although at the moment there is only an unfinished body of the future vehicle. This vehicle can work even where there is no water. It can work for about 50 hours. This machine can put out a fire in 7 different ways, using steam, water, foam, carbon dioxide, etc. Nur Otan says that the secrets of the vehicle are based on the laws of physics. 1 liter of water gives 3,000 volumes of steam, which saves water. The inventor has already won the nomination The Youngest Inventor, and a number of Kazakhstani plants have offered cooperation with them. His father, an engineer, has promoted love for technology in Nur Otan since early childhood. Another inventor is over 90 years old. War veteran Akbar Amanjolov has invented a polarizing engine, for which he received the diploma from the National Chamber of Entrepreneurs. The effectiveness factor of Japanese high-speed engines is about 60 to 70. This internal explosion engine has no circulation system. This is not just an exhibition of unique ideas, but a meeting place for Kazakh inventors and entrepreneurs, so anyone would have an opportunity to implement innovative ideas. 20 Kazakh companies are already interested in these inventions. The competition is becoming more and more popular from year to year. In 2015, we received 287 applications. It is a platform for dialogue between inventors and investors, entrepreneurs. At present, the contest is expanding and approaching another, more qualitative level. The competition had been held for the 14th time. Yesterday's ideas are being implemented today. For example, an artificial skin developed by scientists of the National Center for Biotechnology is now successfully used in healing burns.
Kazakh athlete Ilya Ilyin has become the world's best weightlifter. More than 2,000 fans from 46 countries acknowledge the famous weightlifter. The 2-time Olympic champion and 4-time world champion Ilya Ilyin and Russian silver medalist Tatiana Kashurina as world's best weightlifters, according to the results of the World Championship 2014. President of the International Weightlifting Federation Tamasha Yan and first Vice President of the International Weightlifting Federation Niku Vlad have arrived in Astana to participate in the solemn ceremony. Kazakhstan weightlifters have received prestigious awards twice before. In 2010, Kazakh athlete Svetlana Podobedova won the title of the world's best weightlifter, and in 2013 the title was awarded to Zulfiya Chinshanlo.
Our victories are not just my victories, they are victories of our entire team. We're not going to stop at this point. This is just the beginning. We will go forward and we will achieve great victories and win gold medals.
Kazakhstan has celebrated the Day of National Clothes involving students and teaching staff of the National Academy of Arts.
Gentle young ladies in national costumes, young men who are real soldiers, defenders, even their walking style changes as they try on different costumes. Kazakh national clothes have taken in all the best the art and talent of craftsmen for centuries could create. The idea of this celebration belongs to Professor of History Arman Nurmuhamedov. He had written a post on the internet and received hundreds of positive comments and feedback. On this day, Kazakh citizens were encouraged to wear national clothes to support the festive event and to go to work, to school, or pay someone a visit. One more idea has been implemented. Pieces of textiles with inscripted city names and wishes of unity, peace and prosperity to all Kazakhs have been delivered to Almaty from different parts of the country. A 4-meter-long shapan, Central Asian national overcoat, was made up from the textiles and was named El Shapan, country's overcoat. We want to organize a huge flash mob by passing the initiative to other cities that will contribute and sew a camisole, a jacket, or anything else they want to organize a great exhibition. This all will finish with a scientific conference so that it could be a contribution not only to culture but also to tourism and light industry. We want national clothes to become a brand of our country. Defilé national costumes fascinated the audience. Their emotions showed that they liked the dresses. The El Shapan, together with the national costumes exhibition, will travel across the cities and towns of Kazakhstan. The first stop will be Karaganda.
London hosted the presentation of a book about the great Kazakh poet Shakrim in English as part of the Kazakh Art Festival. The book is an analysis of historical, journalistic, philosophical works of the poet. The author of the book is Provost of the Eurasian National University, Yerlan Sidikov. It is worth noting that the name Shakrim is not new. In the UK, famous English composer Karl Jenkins wrote a symphony and named it Shakrim 5 years ago.
Today, London is witnessing a great historic event. The book has been released in English, and the English-speaking audience will be able to read about our great philosopher, thinker, poet, remarkable man who has created a science of conscience. We are very happy that this presentation had been successful.
Among numerous works as part of the festival, there was a renowned book of playwright Talat Isabekov, We Never Knew the War, dedicated to the 17th anniversary of victory in World War II. The International Academy of Chingiz Aitmatov was the organizer of the festival. The Academy has been promoting Central Asian literature, culture and art in the West.
I felt today that the Holy Spirit of sacrifice, of people, of the great patriotic war, and how the poetry read, how the songs sang.
The play of the famous writer and playwright Talat Isabekov, Transit Passenger, was performed in London. It was staged at the British Theatre of Royal College of Music within the Festival of Kazakh Culture. It should be noted that 2 years ago the play was performed in English by actors of the British Central Asian Theatre, ORZU. The performance was held in the Kazakh language with English subtitles.
A tragedy, but then, of course, near the end it was quite romantic, so yeah, it was really nice.
The author has brought alive the characters, how they convey the feelings around the loss and hope in the book is very well captured, and it speaks to you.
These were the main news for the past week on Kazakh TV. You're watching the news summary from Kazakhstan, my home country. I'm Jana Sagandikova. I'll see you later. Have a good and productive week. Goodbye.